The Adelaide Plains and its coastline have been inhabited by the Kaurna people since long before European colonisation. They've lived in this area for many thousands of years, evolving deep connections with their country, land, sea and sky. Their country sustained them, providing for all their needs. We pay our respects to the Kaurna people and their ongoing custodianship and spiritual relationship with their country. Soon after Colonel William Light selected what is now known as the Adelaide Plains as the site for the new colony in December 1836, and formal government was established, there were settlers in what is now Prospect. They were almost all British, looking for a home in a new colony with many new opportunities. Running along a ridge with fine vistas of the Adelaide Hills to the east and the sea to the west, Prospect was certainly an inviting location. It was well timbered with shady gums, and most of the area was farmable. Although limestone lay close to the surface in some areas, it was easily worked. The Kaurna were quickly displaced by the settlers. The survivors relocated to mission living or fringe dwelling. The Kaurna name for the area is unknown. On the 25th of July 1838, John Bradford obtained the land grant of Section 373, 100 of Yatala, and cut it up into several 8-acre allotments. The author, H.C. Talbot, said, "It was so named from the beautiful prospect, situated on the Adelaide Plains and being separated from North Adelaide by the parklands, beautifully timbered with gum trees, wattles, etc. The presence of native pines, Calitris, gave rise to the name pine forest for part of the area." The settlers rapidly subdivided the land, built themselves homes, and began farming, milling timber, mining the limestone. Wells were sunk to provide water, or it was carted from the River Torrens. Early Prospect had a strong Protestant ethos, including Congregationalists, Methodists and Baptists. But religious beliefs didn't ensure peace, and a conflict between farmers and other settlers erupted in a battle over cutting a road through the area, a thoroughfare that would become Prospect Road. Proximity to the city of Adelaide made the Prospect area attractive as a suburb. In the 1850s, settlements grew up in Little Adelaide, Nailsworth Village, and St John's Wood. By 1870, the population had grown to nearly 900, and soon agitation for independent local government grew. Petitions flew backwards and forwards. A key issue was the value of rates raised in the Prospect area compared to the amount spent on local roads. In 1872, the District Council of Prospect was formed with Samuel Braund as its chairman. Following independence, Prospect grew rapidly, especially between Main North Road and Churchill Road, and spreading north along Prospect Road. A number of impressive mansions and fine villas were constructed when the upper-class suburb of Collinswood was laid out. 19th century homes were frequently constructed of stone and had attractive return verandas. The population reached 5,000 in 1895, and the amount of land under cultivation went into decline as Prospect became suburbanised. After the First World War, the State Bank constructed war service homes for returning veterans in the California bungalow style. The population of Prospect peaked in 1947 at more than 20,000. But the number of dwellings kept growing up until the 21st century. Dwelling density had increased and replacement homes reflected a growing diversity of styles. After the Second World War, the style of housing changed, due firstly to austerity, and then there was growth in medium-density dwellings, such as flats, particularly in the 1960s, when many fine stone buildings were demolished to service the needs of a changing population. Council chambers were first built at the current site in the 1870s, extended in the 1960s. And thoroughly updated in recent years. The town hall dates from 1895 and incorporated the Institute Library. The community has been well serviced by a range of government buildings. Some of these buildings now operate in a different capacity, but a number still stand today. The explosive growth of the city in the early 20th century was accompanied by the provision of basic infrastructure, such as electric lighting, sealed roads, and drainage to alleviate serious flooding. In 1935, Prospect was declared a city. The main hubs were Prospect Road and Main North Road, supplemented in later years by North Park Shopping Centre. Many of the shops on Prospect Road today date from as early as the late 1800s. The strip had nearly everything a family could need: the butcher, the grocer, the draper, the veggie shop, the cobbler, the bank, the post office, the cafe, and the plumber. Prospect Road was the location for the district's first cinema, the National Picture Palace, opened in June 1923, and its modern Art Deco style stood out on the strip. On the other hand, Main North Road has changed out of all recognition, with almost no 19th century buildings remaining. In an effort to end Prospect's isolation, the earliest tramway was established in 1883. Horse-drawn trams ran from the Caledonian Hotel along Main North Road to the Northern Hotel and along Prospect Road to Alpha Road. Within a few years, trams ran all the way to the city, and after the introduction of electric trams, tracks on Prospect Road were ultimately extended to Irish Harp Road. The tram service was maintained until 1959 and then replaced by diesel buses. The first railway service came to the area around 1855 as part of the Gawler line. Unfortunately, because the line was located on the western side of Prospect, it too did not meet the needs of all locals. Public transport meant people could work in the city and live in Prospect. But many found employment with local manufacturers, including the iconic R.M. Williams, who founded his business in the area, and A.S. Horn, the glove and boot manufacturer. A number of small private schools were dotted throughout the area in the early days. As the population of Prospect grew and the Compulsory Education Act was introduced, it was clear that a bigger school was needed. So 1876 saw the establishment of the first government school in the district, Nailsworth Primary School, and licensed schools in Prospect Village and Nailsworth. Originally, the school was located in the current Prospect Library building. Prospect Primary was established in 1921, followed by Prospect North School, formerly Blair Athol, in 1934, and a number of private schools. The community has been well served by doctors. From the early 1900s, patients were visited at home by doctors in carriages with a groom and livery, or sometimes on bicycle or horseback. At least 19 private hospitals operated in Prospect between 1907 and the mid-1960s. Religion was an integral part of the lives of Prospect's early settlers, and a number of denominations were established and built their churches, the first being the Wesleyan Methodists in 1874. The first St. Cuthbert's opened in 1884. A larger St. Cuthbert's church was later constructed at another location. As the demographics of Prospect have changed, other religions have been introduced. Prospect residents responded quickly and in numbers to the nation's call during both World Wars. Men from Prospect took part in the Anzac Landing and fought on the Western Front. Women from Prospect were wartime nurses and helped raise funds for the wounded soldiers. Even the children of Prospect contributed to wartime efforts. Prospect was an integral part of the defence of Adelaide during the Second World War, with the establishment of a communications centre at Prospect Oval, which helped coordinate air raid defence. There are no hotels along Prospect Road. This quirk of history may have something to do with the religious values of Prospect's early settlers. Licensed in 1843, the Windmill Hotel on Main North Road was established as a stopping point for the early bullock carts, bringing ore from Burra and Tanunda in the north. It's believed it got its name from the many water-pumping windmills that were in the area. It took direct agitation for Prospect residents during the 1890s to have the council purchase land for a local recreational oval. Finally, Prospect Oval was opened in 1898 by the Premier, before a large crowd. However, it was many years before North Adelaide Football Club moved to Prospect to make it their home ground. The locals enthusiastically followed tennis, croquet, bowls, and cricket. North Adelaide Football Club has been successful on and off the field and produced some of Australia's best footballers. Since colonial times, Prospect has grown from a farming settlement into a vibrant suburb. Industries have come and gone, and today Prospect is a strong, prosperous, well-educated and professional community with a fine heritage of quality buildings. We celebrate and commemorate the suburb and the people of Prospect.